everybody, and welcome to Betweenplays Stock Market Strategies. Today we have with us CEO Pierre Levy of Deep South Resources, Inc. How you doing today, Pierre?
Very well, and you?
I'm doing really well, actually. I mean, look, I'm in Montreal over here. The weather is not too nice today. Thought we are gonna have +5 all week, and we have -15 today. So it's just not what I was expecting. I think I'll let the afternoon walk not happen today. Just wait for tomorrow.
I'm not against the snow. I'm a skier, so.
There you go. Okay, we like the snow, but maybe not -30 or -20.
That's true.
All right, that's good. That's good. I understand what you're saying. Pierre, you know what? Naturally, we should talk about the company, but before we get into that, I'd like to introduce the CEO and have all of the viewers out there know a little bit of your background and what you're about, basically. So, is it possible to just give us a little bit of your history?
Yep. First, I'm not a geologist or a technical guy. My background is finance. I was a stockbroker and an investment banker in large firms in Montreal. That's where I started raising funds for exploration project. And since the mid-90s, I took over management of one exploration company. And since the mid-90s, I'm heading exploration companies listed on stock exchange. I'm sitting on boards of these companies also. And most of my activities since 1996 was mainly in Namibia and South Africa. I didn't do any deal really in Quebec. My main area of expertise is really the southern part of Africa, including Namibia, South Africa, Botswana, Zambia. So that's my turf. It's a bit strange, but that's the way it is. So I have a very serious network in that part of the world.
Okay. All right. Interesting. And now Deep South Resources, this is this company, naturally, the minings that you have, the claims that you have, it's out of what you're saying, your turf. It's out of that section of the world.
It's in Namibia.
In Namibia.
And in Zambia. Yeah, Deep South Resources was holding a pretty large exploration license in the south of Namibia, which is a copper, a copper exploration license.
Okay.
On which there was quite a lot of work being done over time from Rio Tinto, Falconbridge, Teck Resources. Many majors went over
big names.
Because it's a huge tonnage.
Okay.
Low grade, large tonnage. So that has attracted quite a lot of attention.
Okay. And there's an interesting, I don't even know how to put that really, but there's an interesting something that I would really like for you to get into that we spoke about that maybe investors should be listening because there seems to be an opportunity on the rise, and maybe you can get into a little bit, and it has to do with some kind of legal something. And you know what? You go into that. Let's let the investors hear.
Well, it's pretty simple. In June 2021, we were having 5 drills on site, 60 employees. We were starting some metallurgical test work in Australia with 1 ton of samples. We were having 4 scoping studies on the way. And with a large engineering firm, and then the Ministry of Mines informed us that they were not renewing our exploration license.
And this is where the Ministry of Mines, where exactly?
In Namibia.
In Namibia, okay. And they just decided that they weren't just gonna. That's it. That was enough.
Yeah, and they did say at the time that we have not carried out substantial exploration work, and we had not completed a pre-feasibility study.
Okay.
We showed them 2 things. First, we have invested more money than what we have proposed because you renew the license every 2 years, and every 2 years you have to propose a program. And we have invested 50% more than what proposed, at the start of the tenure.
Okay.
And we also we have informed them pretty early in the in the tenure that finally we were not to complete a pre-feasibility study, but we were switching to a feasibility study.
Okay.
And in our case, it was possible to do that, to fast track to feasibility study for a certain number of reasons. First, our database is huge. We have 70,000 meters of drilling, all the cores on site. We have a lot of metallurgical work that has been done over time. We have all the data, all the reports on that. Even in the 90s, there was a feasibility study done by Minproc, so very serious material. So with all of this together and knowing what the extraction technology we were focusing on,
Yes.
it was possible to switch to a feasibility study. So that's what we decided to do. And they were informed every 3 months in our quarterly report. We were telling that to them. And it's like if it was not existing. So they just pulled the plug on the license and we had to walk away. So the first step was to go in high court to request an injunction on the project to prevent the ministry to issue the license to anyone else, and which has been accepted by the court. And then the second step was to request a review of the decision of the minister by the court, which has gone on. It's a court case that went from the end of July 2021
Yeah.
to recently. The verdict came out on March 10th. Okay, so it was pretty long procedure. But one thing which is very important is two things are very important. The first thing is that in October, there was a quite large scandal hitting the press in Namibia, whereby the mining commissioner, the technical advisor of the minister, and a company called Orange River Mining, held by the cousin of the technical advisor of the minister, have hijacked a lithium project from a Namibian company. They turned around and they sold the project to a Chinese group. And for $4 million US. And there was allegation that the technical advisor and the mining commissioner have received some money out of that. So they are the same individuals and the same company involved in our situation, because we found that Orange River Mining has also applied on a license for our project. It was partially hidden in the system, so we have not been able to see it very easily. And so it was the same actors. So that changed the picture for us, because it was showing that we have been trapped into something that had nothing to do with what we have done on site. The judge was not able to take that in consideration, because it came after the case was closed. We were just awaiting the verdict. But I think it had a certain influence. And since then, the Minister of Mines has turned around and he has really worked on doing a major cleanup and reorganizing the license. I think he's doing a good job, reorganizing the way license will be granted and so on. And the other thing is that the verdict has been in our favor, in the sense that the judge set aside the decision of the minister in saying that it's not a mandate of his court to grant a license, but he ordered the minister to reopen the application procedure of 2021, and this time consider all the facts that have been presented by Deep South, such as the investment we have done, the level of development where we brought the project, the fact also that COVID-19 has slowed us down for about 6 months. They were fully aware of that. And even though we have invested 50% more money than what we have proposed. So all of this and many other factors, the judge has said ordered the minister to take these in consideration. So now we are awaiting to organize the procedure around that application. Also, the ministry has the right to appeal the decision, and they have up to April 11th, so it's less than 2 weeks, or about 2 weeks' time, to file their appeal with the Supreme Court. So far, no sign that they will appeal, but we'll see. So it's very positive. It's going in the right way, and I think the minister will do what is the right thing. He will do it right. I'm pretty sure. I'm confident. So
yeah. So this one here that you're talking about, all right, for Deep South resources. What just so for all the viewers out there, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page here, what is the mineral that what is that mine focused on?
It's a copper deposit,
the copper deposit
with some molybdenum.
And what is the tonnages that you were talking there, or how much did you put in? 70,000 a drill? What was that again?
We had 190, a little bit over 200 drill holes for a total of 70,000 meters of drilling.
Yep.
And the last 43-101 resource estimation was showing 850 million tons at 0.31% copper.
850 million tons.
Yeah, and we know we can increase the tonnage. That's not an issue. What we were busy working on is to improve the grade, because it's fairly low grade at 0.31%. But
Yeah.
as the tonnage is there, then it's already a huge deposit. We're talking of about 5 billion pounds of copper in the ground. So it's quite a lot, and we know we can increase that.
And before all this stuff occurred, I don't even want to call it legal, but before this stuff occurred, because you're talking about brother-in-laws involved in there, and it just seems all shady, and targeted actually towards your company. But the thing is what do you recall what your stock was trading at before all this started?
Yeah, I will tell you that, but something I would like to clear out.
100%, yes.
You're right that you say there's a lot of brother-in-law and stuff like this, but it's corruption, yes, but it was done by two individuals. It's not the image of the country. Okay, the
No,
country
of
is
course
not.
not. No, no,
uh,
of course not. So no, absolutely, I agree with you
and
100%.
where I want to go is this: is that you that's the type of situation that you can live in any country in the world.
100%, I
But
agree.
what is very important here is that the rule of law prevailed in Namibia. And that's very, very important for investors to
I like
understand that finally Namibia is not a bad country. Okay.
No, I like the
Now,
message.
I think it's important.
That's very important.
Uh, yeah, and one of the yeah, you said about the market cap. Our market cap before we lost the license was $60 million Canadian, and we went down just around $5 million Canadian. Today we're trading at about $10 million Canadian.
Okay.
So it's a serious setback, but we think that when the situation with the license is resolved and we get the license back, we see our market cap certainly going up again. Will it be at 60 million immediately? Certainly not. It will take probably a little bit of time, but I would not be surprised to see a 20, 30 million, dollars pretty quick after we get the license back.
Well, copper has always been an interesting subject because I recall about a good 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I mean, they were copper was it was so needed that people were stealing them out of manufacturing plants, construction sites, pulling them out of wires from light poles. South of Montreal was getting hammered. I mean, you wake up in the morning and street lights are not working anywhere because they were all attached to each other. And the next thing you know, you got a whole section. It's just no more street lights working anymore. And with the electrification of vehicles, copper is going to be on a massive high demand, in my opinion, of course. I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, it's already in shortage, and there's a couple of problem with that situation. It's for about the last 20 years, the amount of funds invested in exploration for copper was quite limited. Big companies, because the price was lower, big companies were not putting a lot of money at exploration, or as much as they could have done. And smaller companies were having difficulty of getting funding for that. So it was limited. So what happened now is that you have a demand that is going over over the supply, and there's not a lot of new project coming into production because there's not a lot of new project discovered, period. So it's very important to increase the exploration, and what it will do in the meantime until we have enough new deposit found and that can go in production. There will be a shortage and the price will squeeze. It's no matter what, the price will always tend to go up. We're probably in a important bull market, at least for copper. It's and one of an important point also is that copper is needed for many things, but on top of the electrification of vehicles, you have that for cloud storage.
Yeah.
These huge storage facilities are
Yes.
using a load of copper, and that's an industry that is in full blast.
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of things, infrastructures and name it. It's like
Yeah.
so it's going to be a pretty interesting period for copper. But we definitely need to put a lot more money at exploration to discover new deposit. The other thing also is that most of the high grade deposit have been mined. So we need now to mine low grade deposit and uh, adjust the extraction of the metal to be
Okay.
able to do that at low cost. So that's what we were looking to do at Hybe, and big companies will have to do that more and more
Yes.
without any choice.
Yeah, I see. And I was looking at your share structure over here. Shares outstanding 169.38 million, float of 130.59 million, held by insiders is 15.83%. This is a great share structure, and the fact that you have insiders that are holding on to this it's very interesting as well. I wanted to bring up the whole concept that you're saying about these data centers, all right, going up around the world. I was just reading recently, I think it was in Norway. Can't remember the country, but they were saying that they can't build, um, weapons. They're talking about, I don't remember if it was missiles or something. They couldn't build because they didn't have the energy anymore because a data center is sucking up all the energy of
Yep,
the area. That's
yep,
how massive these data centers are. A data center could take up the energy of a small town.
yep,
It's insane. So yeah, you're absolutely right. We're looking at data centers, and I think it was a TikTok data center. So imagine for one company,
yeah.
TikTok. That was all it's for. So yeah, we're looking at the necessity of supply and demand. We're going to definitely need a lot more copper. Where do you see this going right now with this whole legal affair?
But we hope that the matter will be resolved within about 2 months. But that's a hope. It's not something I can guarantee.
Yeah,
Uh, I have no indication it will be like this. But I suppose that if we can get a meeting with the ministry, with the minister and the mining commissioner, we will be able to have a better idea from that point what will be the timeline.
yeah.
As they still have their right to appeal, it could take another 2 weeks before we know exactly where we stand. But after that, if they don't appeal, it means that they want to resolve it, and then there's a good chance we will get our license back. So I would say another 1 or 2 months, and it should be nearly or all resolved.
And the let's say once this is resolved, what's the direction of the company? What's the most immediate thing you'll be doing right after?
Well, we will resume some work that was suspended, such as we will complete these 4 scoping studies with Knight Piedzold. There was one scoping study on water usage, another one on power solutions, another one leach pad assessment, and the last one was a preparation for the environmental impact study.
Okay,
Uh,
yes.
these 4 things will serve as a basis for the feasibility study to come. So that they were nearly completed. So we will just give the mandate to an IPDOL to complete that. It can take a couple of weeks, and that's it. We will resume the bioleaching test work that we're starting in Australia. We have 1 ton of samples over there waiting for to be treated. So we will resume that,
Oh, yes,
and
Stu's
we
been
will
waiting for a
we
while.
will we will start working on planning to resume the drilling. That will take a little bit longer because we have to contract the driller, and then
Yes.
the drilling company bring their people on site. We have to bring our employees back and so on. So we need a little bit of a couple of months to be back on track, and we will need some funds for the drilling. We have some funds to resume the other activities without a problem, but the drilling we will need to raise some funds. Um, let's see
So
what our
the
cap will be, and we already have some pretty large investors who have shown interest in saying that when you get the license back, we would like to participate in some financing. So we're not very nervous about that. It's just a question what will be the market cap.
so Pierre, if we're looking at the economic assessment of the company, I mean, where do you see this right now?
But the last preliminary economic assessment we produced was in December 2020 at
Okay.
a price of copper of $4 per pound, which what we have now. The net present value of the project was $1.6 billion US. and with a capital investment of capex of $340 million US. So it's a huge gap in between, which
Yes.
is pretty impressive, because in general you will have over 1 billion market cap capex for a value of over 1 billion NPV. Now, normally the company should trade with a PEA, you should trade between 5 and 10% of the NPV value. So let's put it at 5%. The company should trade at $80 million US. So let's say $110 million Canadian. We're trading at 10 million at the moment. So you
Yeah.
can
So
see the upside.
yeah, you're
A
looking at
large part
good.
of that is due to that legal problem. But resolving the legal problem, that's where we should point to. It's like the path forward is leading us to at least $110 million of market cap eventually.
And this is based off of the economic assessment. This is based off of the 2020, you're saying.
Yep.
Wow. And we're looking at the fact that you could jump over the pre-feasibility and jump into the final feasibility due to all the work that you guys already have.
Yep. Yeah, that
Okay.
does not mean we will not produce a pre-feasibility study.
No, it doesn't mean
It
that,
means
but
that we're working to our goal is to complete a feasibility study, but on the way up,
yeah,
on the development, it's possible we will provide because our last updated preliminary economic assessment, the PEA,
yeah.
was near to be a pre-feasibility study.
Oh, it's
Okay?
near to be a pre-feasibility. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
What was missing really to be a pre-feasibility study was a new resource estimation, and that's what we will have with the drilling program. By the end of the year, somewhere early next year, we will have a new resource estimation. So it's possible we'll just compile the data and see what it looks like with a PFS or not. We'll see in due course, but we are definitely going to the feasibility study.
Well, that's very interesting because once you're, usually companies when they're at the feasibility study range, I mean, they're not that far off from producing or, getting to that point of, having a mine.
But
I mean, where are you at on that, on let's say on that scale?
But listen, we are not near to have a mine specifically, but we're at a level where we can start a feasibility study because we have enough data to do that. And 70,000 meters of drilling, it's quite a lot of drilling. But on top of that, many metallurgical tests with different extraction technology. The classical route of grinding, milling, roast leaching has been tested twice or even 3 times. Heap leaching has been tested also. Chloride leaching has been tested. Bio-heap leaching has been tested. So
Wow.
it's, there's a huge database. So we're at a level where we can start the development of the project with a feasibility study. We're
So
there.
interesting. That's so interesting because the only thing so in reality, it's just this issue that had occurred from certain individuals, probably with of course, naturally with an ulterior motive. And now and from what I recall, these people, like, they were fired. Were they arrested? Did anything happen to those people that were involved in this?
One of them left the ministry 1 week before the scandal hit the press, and he's now under investigation by the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Okay.
And the mining commissioner has been removed from his seat, and he has been replaced by someone else.
Well, there you go.
And I'm not sure if there will be an investigation or not. That I'm not informed. I don't have that information at the moment.
No, but we see what's okay. So this is very, very interesting stuff. So I'm looking at, once this all clears up, I mean, there's some great potential here of this stock not remaining. I mean, we were just talking about the economic assessment of 2020. It's like 12, 10 to 13 times under its value just at the moment.
Yeah, could be. Yes.
I find this very interesting, Pierre. You know what? Would you happen to have any final thoughts for your investors? Potential investors?
We're heading into a very exciting year. If we get the license back, which we're pretty confident it will happen, then we will have some very, some work that will add quite a lot of value. But at the same time, we have these more greenfield projects into Zambia that are right in the middle of the copper belt. And it's one of the most, if not the most prolific copper belt in the world. We're surrounded by 9 large mines that all of them have at least the same amount of copper in the ground than what we have in Namibia. We're on the same geological trend. We have completed some sampling, and we're expecting to issue some results within the next 2 weeks. And we have already anomalies identified, so we're at the right address. We see ourselves as elephant hunters in terms of copper deposits, and Zambia, in the middle of the copper belt, is elephant country. So you will have upside also coming from some potential discoveries in Zambia. So we will have a pretty exciting year on that side.
This stock, well, not the stock, but the issue at hand, when it clears up, I would really love to have you on here and to be able to celebrate that and to show it to all the shareholders. I mean, you have been very determined, Pierre. To get this cleared up, you have not stopped. I don't know. Where do you get this determination? Is it for your shareholders?
Of course it is, because I always say something. My assets, of course, I have some shares in the company, that's my asset, but my asset first is my network, is our shareholders. We live or die with our shareholders. That's it, because it's not like we're not having a mine in production. We don't generate any revenues. So to keep going, we need our shareholders. We need the support. So it's very important to take care of them. And the determination is to take care of my own asset, which is my network.
I like the way you think, Pierre.
It's our network, so it's very, very important.
Yeah, I like the way you think, Pierre. Thank you so much. Pierre, thank you so much for being on Between Plays. Like I always say to everybody out here, our motto is research, prepare, plan, execute. This, I find this very interesting, but follow this very close. Honestly, cannot wait for you to come back on the show and to give us some great news, and we could put it out there for everyone to see and, celebrate it together.
Thank you very much, and I'll be very pleased to come back to the show anytime.
All right. Thank you so much, Pierre. Okay.
Thanks.
Have
a nice day.
You too.
Between Plays. It's the journey and what you do between where you are and where you want to be. Research, prepare.
Disclaimer: Between Plays has a contract with said company in this video at the time of recording. Between Plays only takes contracts with companies we believe have an opportunity to deliver a product or service based on our own research. That being said, always do your due diligence. Seek professional financial analyst when investing. This video is for entertainment, educational, informative purposes. See description for more information.
Between Plays. Bridging the gap between companies and investors.